What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the latest episode of the WarRoom podcast presented by the Sideline Journal. I'm your host, Mason Rather, and joining me today is my co host, Liam Carr.
Hey, that was a fantastic week, Mason. It was great all the way through, man. The toilet bowl really gave some lights. The Seahawks, the defenses, just all of it fantastic. Couldn't have asked for a better Sunday.
No, we couldn't have. We had finally a great Thursday night football game where 74 total points were put up. We had primetime matchups in every single slate, going from the Bears and the Packers to even the Raiders somehow with betting allegations, getting it to a one-score game, and then Sunday night football to cap it off. I mean, we had everything in this week of football, and we couldn't have asked for more, and we're really excited to get into it with you. So we'll now open the war room because it's officially open.
This is the War Room presented by the Sideline Journal, where the film doesn't lie. Let's get to work.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of the first game on Sunday, Liam, that snow game out at Highmark Stadium between Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. A lot of people thought this was going to be a sneaky game. The Bengals were going to be able to upset the Buffalo Bills, but primetime moments, Josh Allen comes through with 5 total touchdowns. What happened in that game?
Yeah, Josh looks fantastic. Everybody always says he looks like Superman, and he did. That was a great game to watch, back and forth. In the snow was even better. Joe Burrow back. The NFL is just milking that clip from like 6 years ago of Joe doing that little throw with the spin in the snow. Let's move on, guys. But anyways, Joe Burrow, he was the reason they were in it, and he was the reason they were out. But Josh Allen is just inevitable. His ability to do it both ways, the deep ball, and his legs, and then everything in between. That's just what you want in a quarterback. So put a team around him, and we should expect stuff like this. 39-4. We need help with that defense, Mason. But what do you say about the Bills and their outlook on the season?
Yeah, I mean, the Bills legitimately have Superman as their quarterback. I know the counting stats don't say MVP this year like last year, and don't make me say this argument is saying that Josh Allen's the MVP. But I mean, he truthfully is the engine that pulls the team along. I mean, they might be the most deeply flawed contender left in the pool, really, because I mean, the O line is injured and banged up and is protecting very well. Their best deep threat is a 33-year-old Brandon Cooks. His leading receiver was his backup tight end and Dawson Knox. Yet somehow Josh Allen finds a way to 5 total touchdowns. And I mean, to me, he is far and away the best quarterback that's going to be in the playoffs come January on the AFC. And it's really hard to bet against a quarterback like that. And so, for their long term outlook, I'm ultimately at the point with the Bills where I just think that it's their conference to lose because currently, right now, if the playoffs start and it stays the way that it looks like it's going to go, you've got normally 4 Titans in the AFC. It's Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. Well, 3 of them aren't going to be in it, and it's only Josh Allen remaining. And if there's going to be a year that they finally get over that hump, it's going to be because all the other obstacles aren't in the bracket this year.
Yeah, this for sure should be the year Josh Allen takes over, especially with all those other guys down. I mean, I'm not gonna say this is a cakewalk, but all the other quarterbacks he potentially is going up against have less experience than him, which is what Josh Allen needs. It's not gonna be easy, of course, because especially it being playoffs, but he has to go against like a Broncos defense that is insane. Probably have to go against the Chargers will probably sneak it in there. Jags, Texans, Steelers, or Ravens, we don't know. But then the Patriots. I really think Josh Allen has the experience there, not having Spagnolia on that Chiefs defense, who knows Josh Allen by now, by name. If you don't have the threat of Lamar Jackson and you don't have just Joe Burrow's ability to pass the ball, he can spin it so well. Josh Allen should be licking his chops right now, and Bills fans. This is your best chance in a long time. I don't think the Patriots have in him yet. I know they're 11-2. A lot of people are saying the schedule. Did the schedule make this throw Drake mate? No, but I mean, if you look at the order of the upcoming draft, that's their schedule. Okay, so that's not the best thing. Patriots haven't faced probably enough adversity, so if that's the biggest thing in the way for Josh Allen, I'm putting my money on Josh Allen because he's Superman, all right? Um, And then like look at their run offense. James Cook, like if they just feed him it 20 times, get him 100 yards, they're probably gonna win. The guy is always on the lookout for a breakout. If you run up the A gap to the B gap, he can break it for 70. So he's got the speed, the field vision. I like, you know, everybody always talks about Josh Allen. He's the only guy on the Bills. They have great guys around him, Mason. You were talking earlier about banged up linemen, their threats. Their defense isn't that good either. They can't stop a cold. So, but still, if Josh Allen is Josh Allen, the guy that got his jersey retired in Wyoming while he's still playing, if he is Superman, this is his year.
Yeah, and I just have to agree with that. I don't really see how you can maybe come away with a different take than what's going on in the AFC right now. She's talking about a lot of the heavy contenders there, and it's a lot of a return from those teams of old back in the early 2000s. Broncos and Patriots running things, the Steelers lurking, the Jags, Texans competing for, the AFC South, but still the Bills in this new age of contenders led by Josh Allen. He's the most battle tested remaining quarterback left. So really
You want
got
to talk about You want to talk about 2010's juggernauts? Do you want to talk about the Indianapolis Colts?
well, they're actually really taking that page out of the book and they're turning the clock back to the 2000s contenders and they're bringing somebody who is 5 months away from having a gold jacket out of retirement. Philip Rivers is playing football in 2025, Liam. What the heck is that?
Yeah, it's debatable about whether or not he was going to be in that Hall of Fame this year. But yeah, the Colts decided, yeah, let's get this guy who hasn't played in the NFL for 5 years and see if he still has it. See if he's still got it. I like Philip Rivers, all right? I liked him in San Diego when they would always go 8-8. They one time had the best offense in the league and the best defense and didn't make the playoffs. But Philip Rivers, he's, up there for Hall of Fame contention. Some people are saying if he plays really bad, that he can play himself out, and if he plays really good, he'll solidify himself. Mason, I think there's so many problems on another level about this, but I'll let you go first let you go and share your thoughts on Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers in the big 2-5, Philip Rivers playing on the Indianapolis Colts.
I just think that what we often forget a lot of times with these old quarterbacks is that it turns into an position and game of feel. And we forget that Joe Flacco's 41 and is still playing like he was when he was 34. We forget that Tom Brady, in the year that he retired, threw for 5,000 receiving yards. It's not very often that the last year quarterback plays, it's Peyton Manning because his body's breaking down. But people forget with Peyton Manning, he had spinal fusion surgery at 39 in his neck, which is why he got released by the Colts. So it's not ever really when an older Hall of Fame level quarterback like this is just retiring because his body's completely broken down, and certainly because the situation around him isn't what it was. The franchise is ready to move in a different direction, and the system that made him great isn't the same one that's in place. But what I thought was really cool and really interesting, and I'm going to have the glass half full take on this for Philip Rivers, is that he was a high school OC this entire year for his son. And you know what? One of like 9 of his sons. But you know what offense he was running, Liam? He was
What?
running the Colts offense by Shane Steichen. They had a weekly they had a weekly film session, if you will, where he was legitimately running Shane Steichen's offense this entire year. So it's not going to just be like he's got to learn a new playbook. He's already got that down. And then the confidence that the Colts have in him, this is their number one wide receiver, Michael Pittman, saying this to Kay Adams, that the realistic expectation is that this team is going to win a Super Bowl this year. So the Colts seem like they are, up on the moon and still believe that everything that they had when they were 7-1 is still in front of them.
Yeah, I'm glad that MPJ came out there and said that. That's what you really need when times are down like this. When the quarterback goes down, the guy you traded 2 first rounds for is out, and then it's just you guys aren't clicking. We're still got our eyes sight on the Super Bowl, but I think it's hilarious that football season just got over for most high schools. Philip Rivers got back home, sitting around with his 15 kids, and thought, I got to get out of here. All right, yeah, you want me to come play? Yeah, I'll do that. That's hilarious to me. But Mason, I think that this is a bigger issue with the NFL is that there was no reliable quarterback on any team, on any backup on any practice squad that the Colts had any interest in. I think that's saying a lot about the NFL. Do we have a supply problem with good quarterbacks? So they went back in 5 years, went through the index. I know there's that connection between Steichen and Philip Rivers, but how many times has this ever happened where you've had quarterback problems and you go back not just 1 year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of recently retired quarterbacks, and you go, yeah, that's the guy. We'll stop here, and this guy can still spin it. I like Philip, all right? No hate, but Mason, this is just a thing that I see in the NFL where I think this is a bigger problem. I'm hoping that Philip Rivers comes in and dices up this schedule coming up with the Seahawks, 49ers, Jaguars, and the Houston Texans, which have the best defense right now in the NFL, and we'll talk about that later. But he has such a tough task ahead of him. That team is good. Offensive line, Johnny T hasn't been himself, but he can score 3 touchdowns a game. We talked about all offseason. They have some really good weapons, and their defense is sustainable. So we can see it. But Philip Rivers walking in on a 1 week notice, throwing the ball to these guys, I don't see it happening, and I think it's a bigger problem, Mason.
Yeah, I mean, that quarterback supply and demand problem is everywhere. I mean, normally for a team, it's your quarterback goes down and it's F the season, we're not doing anything. I mean, Peyton Manning's OC for the Colts is a famous quote literally saying that, well, we don't plan if Peyton Manning goes out because it's just F us if he does. And so, I mean, you don't normally see the ability to rotate a lot of quarterbacks to be successful. And you can see with teams that have tried to do that this year, like the Browns, they have only won 3 games. Yeah, they've played 3 quarterbacks, so it makes sense. You go look at the Cardinals. I mean, they've played 2 quarterbacks, getting rid of their franchise one. They're 3-10. Makes a lot of sense. The Jets, they've now played 3 quarterbacks. The Vikings, they've played 3 or 4 quarterbacks. So when you're going through quarterbacks and you don't have that guy, you're never going to have sustained success. And that's what's unfortunate in this business in the NFL is there's 32 teams that need 32 quarterbacks that can start and play winning football. And I think you're hard pressed to ever find more than 14 in 1 year that you're like, this guy is winning us football games. Because then you've got a group of 10 or 12 that's like, well, they're not losing us football games. And that's where the guys like Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor
Whoa, whoa,
Lawrence,
whoa.
Brock Purdy. They get paid $55 million contracts when they're playing around really great players, but the second they're asked to push their team forward, you start to see the cracks develop for what they're paid. So I agree with you that it really speaks to the issue that's plaguing the NFL that Philip Rivers, 5 years into retirement, is coming out to play, but he wouldn't do this if he didn't think that he still had it,
Yeah.
and if because I can tell you he was 5 months away from probably being a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's like, no, I'm going to risk all of my legacy without playing football for 5 years to come play for this Colts team against this schedule. And you've got to think that the Colts have got to believe that they are still that team that went 7-1 and still have it in them to be able to make a run this year. And hats off to them because if they're going to do it in a year, this is the year that it's going to happen because this is the
Yeah.
most parity driven season that I can remember.
Yeah, parity driven. I mean, if you want to talk about that, we can go to say the Saints upsetting the Buccaneers. I know the Buccaneers injury ridden, but you wouldn't expect that to happen in like from the New Orleans Saints, who have really nobody, being 2-10, going up against a team that we thought we were crowning NFC South champions, Baker Mayfield MVP. Injuries have struck them so bad that they lost to the Saints, the Tyler Shuck Saints. Uh, Mason, did you watch any of that game?
Yeah, I think because for y'all that don't know, we're in Oklahoma, so it was actually an in-market game for us just because of Baker Mayfield playing for Tampa, and I watched a actually really scrappy team led by a 26-year-old rookie quarterback give everything that they had to what should be the division winning team in the division. And really my biggest takeaway from that game, I know you have a lot of opinions about Tyler Shuck and the Saints, but mine is about the Buccaneers. Yeah, they're injury riddled, but Todd Bowles has got to go. Todd Bowles, I don't know if there's been a coach that has done less with more than that dude. I mean, they've got talented playmakers on all three levels of their defense, and every time that I've watched a game for the Buccaneers in the past 4 weeks, it's like they're giving up 30 something points. Baker Mayfield, the reason that they were 5-0 is because he was literally having to be Superman with what little he had left on offense until finally the camel's back broke and everybody was injured, even himself. I mean, I don't know if there's a more damning moment than when he was already dealing with a shoulder injury. You put him back out there to try to throw a Hail Mary, and he probably just re injured the same shoulder he has an injury history with. So I think that the Buccaneers are going to somehow win this division just by matter of fact because they have the best quarterback in the division and the most talent on their roster. But great win for the Saints, taking advantage of an unmotivated, lackadaisical team by Todd Bowles. That's what I took away from it.
Yeah, I don't understand how the Bucks lose that game. I mean, they lost to a team that had nothing left. You gotta be scared about those teams because they'll try anything and everything. Shuck threw it 20 times for 144 and an INT. He had two rushing touchdowns, which were pretty impressive. But Mason, just a 26-year-old rookie. Uh, Again, I don't want to hate on this guy. You know, I'm a big NFL fan, so I like anybody out there spinning it. But um, it's just not going to work. And after that game, we saw a handful of sports analysts and Instagram accounts that I like saying, I knew it. I called Tyler Shuck. I knew Tyler Shuck was going to be a steal in the draft. Tyler Shuck is a good NFL quarterback. He can be, but he'll never be the answer with his age and his injury history. The Saints, if he finishes the year fantastic, just dicing it up and looking like the next guy, that's fantastic. The Saints have to pray that they nail every draft pick coming up in this draft. They have to spend some money in free agency. And if they get a team by next year around Tyler Shuck, their window is it's going to be about 2 years, all right, to win then. Um, in a good division where the Panthers are pretty much rebuilt and the Buccaneers are still going to be up there for the time being. But um, I just don't see it. This is not the answer, and it kind of sucks because, you know, he definitely can be. He had those rushing touchdowns were great, but just due to Tyler's collegiate career, no matter how good he is, this window is too small for the team to truly rebuild um, around him. So I wouldn't say it's pointless, but if they do, they're just going to push themselves further back. So congrats for the Saints. You might have some fun next year, but I just don't see it. And on the Sideline Journal, we call things out so far ahead. But you know, this is another one that I think is it's going to come. So
And I think you're almost a prophet. I think 2 years we're going to be replaying
thank
this
you. I try to
clip.
be.
I think, 2 years down the road, we're going to be playing this clip showing exactly where the Saints went wrong. Because, I mean, worst comes to worst. I mean, Tyler Shucks, what? He's a serviceable starting quarterback. Okay,
Sure.
great. They still are in cap hell because of all of the old vets that they have on the roster that are finally coming off this year. If he wins you, God forbid, 2 more games this year, your 5 wins puts you actually right around the ninth, 10th pick this year because there's so many bad teams right now. So now you're out of striking distance for a Fernando Mendoza, and you're gonna what saddle yourself with maybe Caleb Downs and Arpel Reese. That's awesome, but then you're now looking at another year where you're probably gonna win 6, 7 games, maybe, So, I mean, just looking at it from that perspective, I mean, I see what you're saying, and at that point, by the time they're competitive with this team, let's say Tyler Shuck continues to develop, he'll be
The
30.
Saints.
Yeah, the Saints. He'll be 30 years old. It'll be year 4. Maybe they finally have a winning season, and now you got to pay a 30-year-old quarterback $60
Yeah.
million.
It's
So,
that contract. Whatever he's going to ask for, if he plays really well and they want to re-sign him, he's going to ask for a lot of money, and the Saints are going to say, "Oh, I mean, dude, come on, you're injury-ridden history, and you're kind of older than we want. We're not going to give you this much." And then is he going to leave? Is he going to play? Dude, it's just this is such a unique, weird conversation that I just don't think the Saints have it in them. But
and it's what happens when you draft a quarterback that's that old. It's like, why do you do that? So,
speaking of drafting quarterbacks, Do you want to go over to that Titans-Browns game, the Toilet Bowl, or the Mel Kiper Bowl?
I think we need to dub it the Mel Kiper Bowl because I think Mel Kiper finally felt vindicated and it gave him another month's worth of content because of how the way that game ended. How the heck does Kevin Stefanski to look at what his offense was doing and decide he's going to go in the Wildcat for the game deciding play?
I have no idea. He has to hate Shador so much that he just pulled him. I mean, he was having a decent game and he just pulls him, Mason. I don't understand that. What coach does that?
One that's trying to lose. He believes in his scheme more than his players. Is trying to get too cute with what he's doing. I mean, I truthfully don't know what he was thinking there. And I mean, which is what a game though. I mean, at the very least, yes, the Browns lost, but and the Titans won. Yeah, it was bad for the Browns draft position, and yeah, Titans fans, you probably want the number one overall pick because you're that bad of a team. But it's got to be good at least for both of the fans of these franchises to see the two quarterbacks actually sling the football around and look like they could be starters someday.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think the best thing came out of the game. That's why I enjoyed watching it and really looked forward to watching this 2-10 team. 1-10, 1-11, 10. Oh my goodness, their records just both bad. And the 3-9 Browns. I was looking forward to that just because I wanted to see these quarterbacks play and see what they can do against each other. They were like the two biggest stars during this draft, which I thought was insane. Well, I guess Travis Hunter's up there too, but. Um, Shador is looking decent, and Cam Ward, his stats don't show it. A lot of people are comparing his stats. There's a lot of stuff on Twitter. Blind, would you rather have person A or person B? And it shows the stats, and then one's Will Levis and one's Cam Ward, and they look identical. Um, I, it's just okay. So from potential standpoint, right there. I just want to go with Cam Ward because he just has so much higher than like that was Will Levis's max. Cam Ward, I think there's so much more left in him. He can do it on the ground and the air. Throw on the Cam Ward tape. Don't look at the stats. He's made some insane throws this year to a team that is definitely not even ready to play National Football League. I mean, look at their for goodness sakes, they're 2-11. They're struggling. Obviously, they don't have the team around them. They have some potential elsewhere in their young stars, but that's it. That's all they got. And then Shador Sanders, he's really surprised me. And I don't want to be a huge Shador hater during this offseason. I didn't hate him so much that I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot stick. It was just I thought he was overhyped, and he was. I didn't think fifth round pick after being passed up by Dylan Gabriel was going to happen, but he slides to the fifth round, and for him being a fifth round, he definitely isn't. He's definitely a second or third maybe, but his numbers are a little inflated, so I'm not ready to like buy all in on Shador yet. But I do think like fighting between Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel this offseason is kind of offensive to him, I bet, and rightfully so. He probably didn't come across it the right way because he's just cocky and confident, which I don't hate, but um, Shador is buying himself definitely a couple more games, which we found out about today. Kevin Stefanski saying, "Yeah, you're good, you got it." So I'm excited to see how he ends the season around this Browns team that isn't bad. It's not bad, and so if he can put together a good four-game stretch right here, and keep this momentum going. The Browns definitely are closer than they think. They finessed the Jaguars out of their first round pick in the next year. If they just get a few, like I like their Dylan Sampson and Quishon Judkins. They still got Jerry Jeudy. Don't forget about him, but he's still very good. Isaiah Bond looks nice. They've got two tight ends. They got that 12 personnel looks fine. They're very close to being competitive again, but they also have Watson Cap. So that was a little ramble, Mason, but that's just the Browns and the Titans situation in my eyes.
Yeah, I think you actually touched on a lot of good stuff there that I kind of want to unpack a little bit because I
Sure.
mean our pre-draft trade on Shador Sanders, we had him as the 55th overall prospect. I think he's played like it. He has shown some flashes while a lot of raw arrogance in the way that he plays the game, which is exactly kind of our pre-draft evaluation on him. what a first round quarterback looks like is what Jackson Dart is doing with the Giants right now. Somebody that is playing well above any expectations you could have in a much more hopeless situation. And so I don't think that the way that we hyped him up, I think we have him exactly where we thought he was going to be. The problem is the way that he went about it by, everything that he did with his pre-draft shenanigans, and then everything at camp with the Browns, you name it. But he's playing some good football. What's really showing up is what's going to save Andrew Berry's job is how great that rookie class is for the Browns. Because Mason Graham has made it to where Myles Garrett might break the sack record. Lo and behold, you get another good defensive lineman on the Browns D line, and Myles Garrett finally is going to go from 16 sacks to NFL record in sacks. You've got Captain America and Carson Schwarzenegger back there as a second-round pick who should be the defensive rookie of the year. Quinshon Judkins comes out and immediately is going to, as a rookie running back, have 1,000 scrimmage yards. You get Harold Fannin Jr. in the 4th round, who is an incredibly good, solid tight end. Dylan Sampson as well. And then you get Shedeur Sanders, who could be a bridge, young, developmental quarterback as you try to get through the Deshaun Watson contract next year. I mean, I think Andrew Berry saved his job with the way that he drafted this offseason, and I think it really showed up in that Titans game. Flip side of that, for the Titans, this is where me and you and most of the football will disagree. I think Will Levis is going to turn into Sam Darnold. He's going to get to Seattle or San Francisco, somewhere on the West Coast, and he's going to turn into being a really good quarterback again. Because I think that he showed a lot of talent and raw flashes, and it's just because of Brian Callahan existing that he had his Will Levis here. And I think we've seen moments like that with Cam Ward, and I think Cam Ward is going to ultimately develop if he can get a good OC. And so I think the jury's still out on the teams there, but I think it was just an exciting week of football to watch them. And where I kind of want to take this conversation now is, how the week ended on Sunday Night Football between the Chiefs and the Texans. The Chiefs, losing record, not going to make the playoffs. Andy Reid should be fired, according to Chiefs fans. What's going on down in Titletown?
Not Titletown. I don't know what you call it, but
That
it
was
says
for
not
you. That was for you. I was
That's
gonna
in
see if
Green
you
Bay,
caught it.
Wisconsin. Man, the Chiefs. I've said it for a while now. This is just the opposite of what last year was for them. All right, all these close games coming out of the wire, and they just can't break it. Missed field goals, just these missed opportunities last year that were, they squeaked by. These missed opportunities are now picks and fumbles. Um, they're not getting. They're not getting all of the calls that they want. It's kind of annoying watching Chiefs games on prime time because Mahomes is complaining after every single play, and so is Kelsey every time there's a target towards him about something. So it's just not fun to watch. But the Chiefs dynasty, I don't think it's done. All right, a dynasty lasts longer than this. They've been good for a really long time. I know that like 10-year streak of AFC West titles is snapped, which 10 years is a long time, but like Super Bowl wise, I mean, we saw the Patriots be up there for 3 years and then miss it for like 2 or 3 years and then back for three and then down for two. So this is just one of those down years. I think if they are truly a dynasty, they'll be back next year. They're not going to have the same pieces. Tom Brady went through how many players? Tom Brady and Bill Belichick went through how many players, all right? You got to reload, you got to reset, and you got to go again. So these Chiefs, it's a down year. Everybody wants to say the dynasty is over just for talking points. Dynasty is not over yet. We'll see in next year if they stink even more than, yeah, probably. But
I
the
don't.
Texans, though,
I was gonna say on the Chiefs, I don't disagree that the dynasty isn't over, but I think the comparison between Mahomes and Brady is dead. Brady never played football as a starter in the league, mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. He never did that. Mahomes might. And also, any year that Tom Brady was healthy in his prime, he didn't miss the playoffs. The years the Patriots missed the playoffs were the years that Brady was injured, in like 2011 during the Matt Castle run. I mean, say what you want to say, if the Chiefs miss the playoffs, which it is mathematically likely that they will, it's like a 21% chance they have left to make the playoffs, and they're going to need a lot of help from other teams losing. I don't think it's crazy to say it. The dynasty as we know it is over just because of them missing the playoffs. If it was just they made it as the wild card round or they didn't win the division, I'd be okay with that. But like, I don't see how this team drastically improves in the off season. You know, I just don't know
Yeah,
how they're going to do it.
yeah. I mean, I think their offense is pretty simple. It's harder to defend on the field than, where we're sitting. They just do like 5 or 10 yard crossing routes from opposite sides of the field. They try to distract it with a lot of motion in the backfield before the play starts. And they can't run the ball anywhere. Pacheco is one of the hardest runners in the NFL right now, and he has no field vision. He's as blind as a bat. And then they have 50-year-old Kareem Hunt on like his fifth try in Kansas City back there too. So they can't run the ball. Their offense is pretty much the same thing. Kelsey absolutely sucks. And then their defense has
Washed.
just been making costly mistakes. It's not the Chiefs' defense. Spagnuolo is great, but he can't put out these players to execute. It goes down to them, and they just can't do what Spagnuolo wants. So yeah, it's tough for the Chiefs, man. Were
It's
you about
like,
to say something?
yeah, it was like what you said earlier of like what always went their way was situational football, and it's the exact opposite. It's somehow Mahomes throwing picks at the worst time, or the defense isn't getting the sack they needed, or they're letting up the big play. It's like you said, the stuff that was going their way isn't this year.
Dude, I want to talk about the Texans as well, but you just brought up a point. It reminded me of I think it was Skip Bayless said this today, and
All
it caught my
right,
attention. I
Skip
think it was Skip,
Bayless. Oh
but he
yeah,
said something about how Mahomes' history is impacting how we view him now. And he said, forget about his past. Look at what he's doing now. He said it like his accuracy is not there. We know his deep ball. We've said it on the program that Mahomes' deep ball is not there. And when you watch the games, it
it's
is
not
pretty bad.
there.
He's talking about his accuracy. He is still a great playmaker, but um, you still need to do the simple things. And so when Skip Bayless said, something like that, you can look up Skip Bayless quote from today.
Hey,
But
even a broken clock can be right once out of
yep,
a day.
yeah, no,
So
I really enjoyed that. We keep whenever you talk about Mahomes, and oh my goodness, listening to that game, I had to mute it. He was sitting on the sideline, and C.J. Stroud does something, and Collinsworth goes, Mahomes knows that it's gonna be a tough game, man. Look at that guy. He's just sitting down. All right,
or
we're
the
letting this
Texans
history.
are kneeling the football, and he's like, I don't know. That Mahomes guy's on the sideline. Something could
No chance.
happen.
It's pretty awful, and it's hard to get away from that when you listen to the games like that. But no, I am ready to say I'm done with the Mahomes history. He's playing pretty bad right now with his accuracy, so I'm ready to. I would be excited if that was over, but you want to talk
Well,
about that Texas defense?
last thing on the Chiefs, and then I will, because I think that that is a big storyline here too. The national media isn't talking about is the Texas defense, but I want to call attention because this is again us being profit seekers, and this might come out 2 years down the road. I'm not too old enough to remember Andy Reid talking about in a open talk, TED Talk shop in 2019 after the Super Bowl run of how he designs plays and how he coaches quarterbacks. And he talked about how he had an O line background and how being in playing O line, you have a very wide freedom within the confines of rules that you set, and that's how he approaches coaching quarterbacks and designing plays. And he actually lets a lot of the offensive leaders and walk through Thursdays design and create their own plays and add them to the game plan. And so what I'm trying to take at here and maybe bite at the apple is that you can see that they've had a lot of success for now an extended period of time doing things the way that they've done them. And I think what you're seeing is maybe too much freedom with a quarterback that is not being coached to the level that he was when he first started. Because what made the greats great is 41-year-old Tom Brady is cussing out his quarterback's coach at Tampa Bay saying, effing coach me, I want to be coached. And I just don't think that that's happening. And I think that's why you see Mahomes playing the way that he is. Anyways, put that to bed. Talk about the most likely engine for a dark horse Super Bowl run in the AFC. The Houston Texans defense is the best in football. Do you agree? Do you disagree?
100%, especially if you just look at these past 5 to 6 weeks. Yeah, I'm ready to crown them the best defense in football. They're just so violent. Watching that Chiefs game was awesome because of all the guys on that defense just go 100 miles an hour. We had a guy in a helmet pad. What do they call them? It's the
Guardian
big puffy
caps.
helmet, the Guardian
I
cap.
call them helmet condoms, but yes.
Sure, there was a guy with the Guardian cap on that gave another guy a concussion. Insane. They're just hitting, and it was a clean hit, and they're just on all cylinders going right now. I think it starts with there are two young guys picked in the same draft, Will Anderson Jr. and Derek Stingley Jr. Mason. Is that right? I'm pretty sure they got them in
Back
the
to
same
back. It
draft.
was back to back.
Okay,
22 and
and then
23.
they go out and they get Hunter, who's just a beast, and they got Aziz Al Shahir,
Oh, yeah.
who is maybe one of the most violent people during the play and after the play. Um, and then I think Henry To'o is just a baller as well. They got from the top down, their defense is fast, physical, violent. It's what you want. DeMarco Myron,
D'Amico
is
Ryans,
it
yeah.
D'Amico Ryan? Yeah, my bad. I was thinking of um
That
somebody
running
else.
back for silver and
Yeah,
blue.
yeah, but yeah, their defense is winning their games right now, Mason, and that's kind of sad to say with CJ Stroud on the offense, the quarterback with Nico Collins. 2 years ago I'd have been saying, oh yeah, they're going to the playoffs. CJ Stroud is leading them, right? No, it's their defense, their incredible defense that is gonna, like you said before, is the dark horse candidate for the Super Bowl is the Texans because their defense, insane.
I mean, they're basically like what we're watching in college football right now with the Oklahoma Sooners. I mean, nobody wants to play that defense because if they hold you under 20 and their offense doesn't turn it over, they're gonna win the football game. And it's just how good they are. It all starts up front with Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson. You cannot drop back and throw the football for longer than 3 seconds because of how great that edge rushing tandem is. You throw that in with helmet condom guy. His name's Jalen Petrie. The dude can freaking smack you in the mouth. Derek Stingley eliminates half of the field, and then you've got Aziz Al-Shaair and Henry Tuato'o in the middle. You drop them in cloud invert cover three, which is the staple of D'Amico Ryan's system, and you see how the field almost just seems smaller than it actually is. And you can, Kirk Cousins said this, to the Vikings defense, you can make a quarterback feel like he's suffocated. That's what it feels like watching this Texans defense play. It feels like they make the other team suffocate. And I don't want to bet against them. I mean, in the divisional round, they're going to go play the Broncos and Bo Nix. Do you think Bo Nix is going to do anything against that defense? I don't see it. You think Drake May in his first playoff game is going to be able to be Drake May against that defense? I don't think so. And so that's where I just get like, well, if it breaks the right way for the Texans, they might have a run in them because that's the defensive side. But the offensive side, it's flawed. But CJ Stroud is still a talented quarterback. Nico Collins had 5 catches for 121 yards. He can make the explosive play happen. Woody Marks, I mean, yeah, I think he has an NFL record. He's left 12 straight games with an injury and came back and played. But Woody Marsh is a big, punishing runner. I mean, he had 23 carries for 78 yards. Those weren't explosive yards. Those were, I'm going to hit you in the mouth type of yards. They lead the league in jumbo personnel. Blake Fisher is a 330-pound tight end that goes in there as the extra O lineman, and they lead the league in those snaps. I just think that they have a brand of football that reminds me so much of the 2012 Ravens, and I just see the path for them. Am I crazy for thinking so?
No, I might be on a lower level because I can't see him going there with that offense. But Mason, the defenses this year in the NFL seem to be leading more than the offenses. I mean, which offense besides the Rams have been just consistent week to week, blowing out teams? I mean, I've seen so many um, games where the defenses are the ones winning it. And while I was saying that, I was thinking of, all right, well, the Cowboys, Packers, 40-40, but
Well,
um,
but in that game, even you saw it. The Cowboys' defense was that objectively bad that They couldn't hold the Lions to 30. They gave up 44. The Lions defense did it against the best offense in the league. They held them to only field goals in the first half. Like, defense is what is the separating mark this year for teams.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound cliche with that because everybody always says every year people are like defense wins championships. But in the NFL, for years past, what do they talk about? They talk about the 5,000-yard passing quarterbacks. They talk about the wide receivers, who's going to be the closest to 2,000 yards. They always talk about airing it out. And this year, everything on offense is down. We've added extra games to the NFL to where it seems like 4,000 yards is just, yeah, everybody's gonna get that. This year, it's the race to 3,000, and it's like week 13, week 14, we're still saying who's gonna get to 3,000. Oh, but who's gonna get to 3,500? These defenses are playing phenomenal right now. I don't know what's happening, but the Texans right now are the leaders of this defensive resurgence in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that the kickoff rules have a lot to play into the lower yards totals, but that's still special teams and
Is it really
defense.
that big of a difference though? Like, is it just 10 yards moved up?
It's really, when it breaks down to it, it can almost be 20 yards because the average touchback rate to not is way less. Like there were less touchbacks back in the 20. Well, no, I actually think there are more touchbacks this year. I don't know. I just think it's an element that plays into it. It might not have that big of an effect. What is probably the biggest effect is how great all of these defenses are. Because I mean, you look at the top of the NFC, the Packers, great defense. Seahawks, great defense. Rams, great defense. I mean, you look at the top of the AFC, the Patriots and the Broncos. The Jags have had a really good defense. I mean, defense is the saving grace for these teams that is propping up some of these lackluster offenses. And it's like
Yeah.
you said, I think it's the engine for where the season is going. And I mean, we saw it on full display in the battle for the North between the Bears and the Packers.
What a great game. Pretty low scoring for most of the game, but I thought it was exciting nevertheless throughout the entire game. We didn't let the Bears score until like the third. We didn't let them score a touchdown until like the third quarter, and then it was just on from there. Um, I'm happy with the results, yeah, but that I was happy to stifle the Bears offense, and everybody was talking about how they're back. We still own them. Thank goodness Keyshawn Nixon, a guy I've been hating on all year, makes the right play at the right time to pick it off in the end zone. Um, but yeah, hey Jordan, I don't know what you want to talk about. Jordan Love in Toyotathon is him. He's off the back foot, spinning it to Bo Melton for like a 40-yard touchdown.
The
Travis
real
Hunter,
Travis
who,
Hunter,
yeah,
yes,
we got
yes.
our two-way player, Bo Milton. Josh Jacobs. I think he's saving LaFleur's career with that like third down, 3rd and 5, naked pitch call to Josh Jacobs on the right side, and immediately 4 defenders in his face, and Jacobs breaks it. He finds just the tiny hole and gets through it to get the first down. I saw in the post-game interview LaFleur was talking about how that was open 3 times earlier in the game, but if that didn't work out with Josh Jacobs' amazing athletic ability, we wouldn't be talking about that LaFleur. But um, so much on the defensive side. But then Mason, I'm going to talk about both because we're journalists. The Bears, Caleb Williams has been looking pretty fantastic. He's really looked calmed down. I think that really has to do with Ben Johnson's offense. Is Ben Johnson the next quarterback whisperer? Kyle Monangai looks like the real deal. They got a really good two-headed monster in the backfield now with DeAndre Swift and Kyle. Was that who DeAndre Swift needed? Is a guy like Kyle? They got great tight ends, and then their wide receivers were all balling out. And Zacchaeus, for some reason, had a really incredible catch. You got to look that up. That catch was phenomenal by Zacchaeus. But yeah, I'm really glad that Matt LaFleur took the 1-0 lead on Ben Johnson after Ben Johnson was just slandering his name, saying that he really enjoys having like an undefeated record against Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur, and after the game, just quick handshake tap, get out of here. No words. So, Mason, what did you think of that game outside looking in?
My favorite part of the game is watching all the Packers fans saying the same thing that I did for 4 years for the Dallas Cowboys of what Micah Parsons, it gets held every play and they don't call it. I mean, and you can legitimately take away from that game that Micah Parsons is a legitimate game-breaking force. The counting stats won't say anything about it, but I mean, you can literally see a lot of what Ben Johnson's go-to in crunch time, and we saw it on the game-selling interception. He's going to line Caleb Williams up under center. He's going to run play action out of the run game that's working, and he's going to roll Caleb Williams to the left or right side. And Micah Parsons is the only reason that Caleb Williams probably didn't run for 70, 80 yards against you guys, because he's the only one that was fast enough to keep contain on him. And I just took away from the game as a Cowboys fan, kind of sad that Micah Parsons is wearing that ugly green and yellow up north and isn't wearing the blue and silver. But for the Bears, I mean, everything they have is still out in front of them. I think they're ahead of schedule, being 9-4. I mean, they only have to win 2 more games to lock down a playoff spot, and they've got all the ingredients to do so. You mentioned everything that they have on offense. Dennis Allen's got the defense with no pass rush, playing pretty good football, all things considered. I mean, their edge rush is practically non-existent, and I just think it's going to be an exciting finish with the Lions, the Bears, and the Packers out north. I think the Packers are best suited to pull it out, but because of Matt LaFleur, I think you need to be a little worried.
Yeah, because that offense at the beginning of the year was pretty atrocious. I think Love was on training wheels for most of the start of the season, and past few weeks, especially during Toyotathon, those training wheels come off. And when you let our 200-some million dollar quarterback spin it like you should be letting him do, look what it does. He's so fun to watch. We need to start having better conversations about, is Jordan Love entering that top 5 quarterback? I would love to. Before the season, I was like wondering, is he really top 10? But look, no, Jordan Love, look at those Toyotathon stats, man. I think at the end of his career, we're going to say the greatest quarterback of all time is Toyotathon Jordan Love. Because, I mean, right now it's like 35. His touchdown to interception ratio is like 35-2, and he threw one of them. That interception was so bad. All right, I'll get that out of his pick, like in the first quarter,
Oh, it
was
was
pretty awful.
horrible.
Um, yeah, and that was to Matthew Golden. All right, and when that happened, I was wondering if it was totally Love's fault, but I was wondering if Love was expecting Matthew Golden's cut to be a little more shallow and to be maybe straight across the line, because that's where it looks like Love was throwing it. It looks like he was throwing it shallow, and Matthew Golden made a little bit more of an obtuse cut. And funny thing is Matthew Golden only like he played like 1 snap after that pick, and that was it.
You're
And he
probably
wasn't injured.
you're probably not wrong in that. So normally, that's what that play call is a staple of every collegiate offense since 2010, and it's in a lot of NFL playbooks that marry that, and it's called Y cross. So on Y cross, it can be your F, it can be your X. It's cross. You've got a post on the away side of it, and you got a cross coming to it. Matt Golden has 3 options based off of what the middle defender does, and him and the quarterback are reading it. He can curl it, he can wrap it, or he can catch a runner. He tried to catch a runner by obtusely cutting upfield. He read it as he was going to wrap it, meaning he's going to wrap in front of the defender and work back towards the football. And so I think you're probably absolutely right. They did that. It looks like an awful pick, and he gets benched. So
Um, Nevertheless, when I watched that play, Mason, I watched a couple times. Jordan Love, when he definitely had time to pull it back and go to another look. I mean, because I don't know, it was just far after that cut. But that's my diagnosis. I will have rumor is that Matthew Golden and Savon Williams, our 2 rookie wide receivers, were out past curfew. That was a little insider. I don't know if that's true. That's just rumors. They were outside curfew at some bars. I don't believe that. That's what I think it was. It was that cut was so bad they just maybe didn't put him back in.
well,
But we got to fix that with our first round wide receiver. But
bad news if your rookie receivers are going out drinking and they don't have a generational performance. They don't have that dog in them. I've watched 2 receivers do that for the Cowboys, and they each had 100 receiving yards. So it can go either way in that scenario. So
yeah.
But that last game that I want to talk about is the one that we got to all see on Monday Night Football. And I saw what I was told is a top 5 quarterback be the first player ever to turn the football over twice in the same live play. How about that QB cooking with 5 turnovers in Jalen Hurts?
Pretty awful performance. I mean, look, earlier this year I said Jalen Hurts was the bar. All right, wherever he ranks in, the quarterback stats for that week, if your quarterback is under him, yeah, they had a terrible week. And if he's over, good week. And man, when you let your franchise quarterback, your Super Bowl winning quarterback, throw the ball 40 times and you cannot win, it's not just you cannot win, but you lose abysmally. And with the team around him, I mean, being in the game, this game just has to tell you that Jalen Hurts is not your team could be so much better. That's what I'm trying to say. This Philadelphia Eagles team, which them and I think the Lions could have a good fight of who has the better overall roster through and through from the first string guys to the fourth string guys. But saying that, you guys are held back when you're 8-4, um, a pretty dominant team on all sides of the ball. To say that your quarterback is the one holding you back is wild. The Broncos are next, so don't think you're out of it. And we'll expose y'all next week. Go Pack. But the Eagles being restrained by Jalen Hurts is a huge topic storyline. They're not going to be ready to go away from him, but they might lose A.J. Brown in the process. They might lose Devontae Smith. We don't know. And they might get more frustrated with everybody. If they start blaming everybody else, there's going to be a huge problem in Philly, Mason.
I think it's hilarious because, I mean, you see all the memes like, oh no, honey, it was the OC that did it again. And you see Jalen Hurts, a low light reel of, what he decides to throw. And you can see why the OC has to scheme around his limits. They're 0-5 in Jalen Hurts' career when they ask him to throw the football more than 40 times.
Yeah.
I mean, for having 200 less pass attempts than the best quarterback in his division, he only has one less turnover than him with 200 less attempts at it. Like, there's a reason that they don't throw the football as much. There's a reason their offense looks so limited, and it's because they have a limited player at quarterback. And yes, when they have the perfect head coach caliber play caller, they can scheme around them. But when they don't have it, even with Hall of Fame talent all over the place, they can't get over it. And what I don't understand and why I'm starting to turn into a big Jalen Hurts hater is the discourse around the team and in the media that refuses to call out the biggest issue for the Eagles. Like, Jalen Hurts will give just some quote of like, oh yeah, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers, but the horses are prepared for battle and we will overcome it. And the
He's not
rest of
Jameis.
and the rest yeah, but and then the rest of his team's gonna be like, just stop fumbling the football. Like, it's very
Stop turning it over.
just don't turn it over. So I mean, I don't know. I think the Eagles are due for a collapse. It's why I still have cautious optimism that the Cowboys are going to sneak into the
Still in
playoffs.
it.
Just
Still in it.
because I think that it's 2023 all over again, and I think that these collapses for as long as this era of the team exists under the Nick Sirianni regime is going to continue to happen as long as Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. So, flip side of that, the Chargers, I mean, they're now a 9-win football team, 2 wins away from sealing the playoffs with all of the injuries. I mean, you got to feel good if you're Justin Herbert playing with a broken hand, overcoming, everything that they have this year with no line and a very lackluster defense. I mean, hats off to them.
Yeah, love seeing Justin Herbert in there. He's always been a dog. He's always been that guy. Definitely one of my favorite quarterbacks. Wasn't the most convincing win. I mean, 12 completions, 139. One catch came off of a 60-yard little dump pass to running back Vidal.
Yeah.
But Justin Herbert was also the leader in rushing yards, Mason. Don't forget about that. So, um,
I just thought it was a gutsy, gritty performance. Like, you can tell that he was injured and hampered, and
yeah.
I just felt like it was like a pure gut check type of victory. Made me happy
And for
to see.
Chargers fans, it was fantastic seeing Omarion Hampton back. He definitely looks like he can be the starter once he gets healthy. Chargers have a lot of great talent surrounding them. They're so injury ridden, it's incredible. I mean, their offensive line before the season was top 10 for sure,
I
and
would
that's always
say,
nice to have.
I would dare to say top 5 with their tackles.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, with Joe Alt, you're gonna be probably top 5. He's just fantastic. And then you lose all those guys, and you're still fighting out these games, playing for a playoff spot. Their defense, I don't think is like the greatest thing ever, but I'll just say that this was a great game for Cameron Dicker. He's the guy that kicked me out of the playoffs for in fantasy football. But when you rely on a field goal kicker like that, that can go a long way. Not in the playoffs. You're gonna want to clean up more on the rushing game. You're gonna want to definitely have a better passing game. But the Chargers steadily, with the injury-ridden team around them, they're steadily staying in it, fighting these games. And if I got Justin Herbert as a QB, I'm always gonna trust him in a dogfight.
I mean, with all the injuries they've had this year, with Rashawn Slater going down after they hand him a $30 million extension at left tackle, Joe Alt goes down, Amarion Hampton goes down, your receivers start going down. You've got your quarterback with a broken hand. You've got countless injuries on the defensive side of the ball. I think they just got to be happy that they're probably going to make the playoffs in what should be a lost season. And they're very cap healthy. They're still young in critical positions. And it's just, I think it's a great year that they're going to be able to build off of going into year 3 of the Harbaugh era. And I just think that we saw two teams on Monday night going in opposite directions based off of the head coach, the culture they have established. But I think that's everything that we wanted to talk about from this week of football, and with our eye to the final close home stretch in the season, and playoff football's almost here, and I can be more excited to get to enjoy meaningful football along with you and our audience.
Yeah, you guys are definitely gonna want to tune back in. We got, I feel like, some really great takes throughout the year, sometimes a little too far out. We'll definitely be talking probably that college ball later in the year once we run out of current football to talk about, because there's just so much week to week to discuss with injuries and all the problems that we see on the field, off the field. So thanks for all the support again. Please keep on supporting so Mason can get another monitor and we can get real headsets, but appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'll catch y'all in next week's episode. And like Liam said, we really appreciate all the support, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
320 subscribers, guys. That is crazy. We're just two dudes that love talking about football, and we appreciate all the support. Apologize for the inconsistent upload schedule. We've been recording them every week, but your WarRoom General, has gotten a little bit behind on the old editing schedule. But anyways, we're back with a new episode. This is the perfect one to watch as you go into a full slate of Sunday football. There's no college football on tonight, and at the very least, hopefully you took away something from it. But we appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.